To the Olympics with boxing. I've been to 5 different weight classes, and I fought the best in my era. The key punch in boxing is the jab.
Hold me back.
For his upcoming fight against Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford is not only using new training methods, but has also added a new coach to his team. The main goal is to help him with specific workouts that will allow him to manage his weight effectively for fight night. After training, Mayweather and Crawford had a fun sparring session, putting each other to the test in the ring. Crawford resumed a short training camp right after recovering from an illness in preparation for his fight against Canelo Alvarez in September. This is not new. The undisputed world champion plans to intensify his training as the fight approaches, but he has already made a great start. He is experimenting with new training techniques and working on gaining weight so that his smaller size won't be as much of a disadvantage in the fight.
I think, I take more chances.
Excuse me, Crawford.
Right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So,
As Crawford mentioned, he and Mayweather have a lot in common. However, boxing fans and analysts have often compared the two fighters to determine who is the better one. According to a recent report, Crawford would likely win a fight between them. When it comes to
Mayweather, you talk about money, or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy.
Mayweather was able to defeat many opponents by perfectly timing his jabs and executing precise counterpunches. He consistently
from the left hooks again. He's a lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off the on this here at the engine.
Critics have said that Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive fighter, bringing the fight to his opponents. Years later, Money Mayweather developed a style that allowed him to outbox his opponents with exceptional skill. Regardless of which version you prefer, Floyd Mayweather Jr. became a legend through both approaches. Comparatively, boxing fans are still in awe of what Terence Crawford did to Errol Spence in his last fight. Whether it was his powerful jab repeatedly breaking through Spence's guard, his ability to punch in exchanges, or the precision of his counterpunches, Crawford showcased an elite level of skill. He has always been a great fighter, but we had never seen him perform at such a high level against an opponent as skilled as Spence. When it comes to pure boxing ability, no one should expect an easy fight against Mayweather. However, Crawford's style is different, effective, explosive, and unpredictable. If Crawford were to face Mayweather in his prime, how would their styles match up? Would Crawford's laser-sharp punches break through Mayweather's legendary defensive mastery? Who would land the first jab? Who would be the more effective counterpuncher? With so many variables, this matchup might best be considered a draw. We've seen Mayweather lure his opponents into the center of the ring, compute their tendencies, and then systematically break them down. His ring IQ, combined with his philosophy of hit and not get hit, carried him to the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division world champion. Meanwhile, Crawford, having become the undisputed champion at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has demonstrated an equally high ring IQ throughout his career. Mayweather possessed incredible hand speed, particularly in counterpunching, but Crawford's ability to attack from sharp angles and deliver devastating shots makes him equally dangerous. Comparing their knockout records, Mayweather secured 27 knockouts in his 50 wins, while Crawford has already achieved 31 knockouts in 40 victories, and he's still active. Crawford's dominant performance against Spence, in which he dropped him 3 times en route to a 9th-round TKO, was a masterclass in boxing. Spence, known for systematically breaking down elite fighters like Kell Brook, Sean Porter.
That's unbelievable. Young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're wearing, then he's nowhere. You think you can. And again, it's not just.
Crawford has impressive defensive skills, but Mayweather took defensive boxing to an entirely different level, near perfection. That raises the question, how would a fight between a prime Crawford and a prime Mayweather actually play out, and who would win. After a tense first round, where both fighters are feeling each other out, Crawford would likely be the more active and aggressive boxer early on, launching attacks and landing shots, even if many of them are absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder.
The way he rolls with punches, but the way he makes them miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Terrific fight for Mayweather. All right.
The steady flow of pressure, Crawford's firepower could pose a real threat to Mayweather, even enough to hurt the legend at times. As close as this matchup would be, Crawford's fighting skill and relentless slashing punches might be just enough to sway the judges in his favor, earning him a points victory over Mayweather's defensive brilliance. Terence Crawford, well known in the boxing world for his exceptional skills and
Terence
unbeaten
Crawford,
record,
with that intense gaze of his,
testament
throws down the
to the
gauntlet
power
at
of dedicated training and strategic physical preparation. His approach to training for his fight against Canelo Alvarez combines rigorous physical conditioning with a strong mental game, setting him apart in the sport. Crawford's current training regimen is a diverse mix of exercises designed to sharpen his boxing skills and maintain peak physical condition. His focus is on improving punch power and gaining the necessary weight to face Canelo Alvarez. A typical day in his training camp includes circuit training with weights, strength and conditioning workouts to enhance speed and agility, and core exercises. One of his key core workouts involves his coach, McIntyre, bouncing a heavy medicine ball off his stomach while he does crunches. Additionally, Crawford incorporates mountain runs and swimming into his routine. He is particularly fond of swimming for cardio training, often swimming for 30 minutes to an hour each night. Swimming provides a low-impact alternative to running, which helps with recovery and muscle regeneration. Since it doesn't come naturally, to him he has to work harder at it, making it a unique challenge. However, he believes it tremendously benefits his endurance. Crawford also dedicates significant time to boxing-specific training, constantly refining his offensive and defensive skills. One of his standout traits is his ability to seamlessly switch between different stances. Initially, his coaches tried to convince him to stick to one stance, but they later realized it was more effective to train him in both. Even today, he continues to practice this versatility. Like many elite boxers, Crawford frequently spars with other fighters to sharpen his technique. Early in his career, he was so impressive that top fighters like Timothy Bradley took notice. Now, as one of the best boxers in the world, others seek him out for sparring sessions. However, they rarely get the better of him. Crawford's skill level is simply too high. Though he is naturally right-handed, he is also highly proficient at fighting from a southpaw stance. To develop his punching power, Crawford heavily relies on the heavy bag. He uses it to perfect his striking technique and build shoulder strength. Watching him in action, you can see him unleash powerful punches, rapid-fire combinations, and everything in between. He varies the intensity of his strikes, sometimes hitting lightly and other times with full force, a training method that enhances his overall boxing ability. Crawford has worked with his trainers for most of his life, and one of the most critical aspects of his preparation is pad work. During these sessions, he doesn't focus solely on speed or power. Instead, he refines his technique, practicing different offensive and defensive strategies. His coaches also incorporate tools like reaction noodles and a punch shield to improve his movement and accuracy. A phenomenal shadow boxer, Crawford possesses an incredible ability to remain calm and adapt to various situations in the ring. He effortlessly transitions between offense and defense, making it look easy. He also pushes himself in extreme training conditions to build mental and physical resilience. One of his preferred methods is shadow boxing with 2-kilogram dumbbells, which helps him develop strength while maintaining speed and agility. To further refine his timing and accuracy, Crawford trains with a double-end bag, a tool that enhances his footwork and head movement, both crucial skills in the ring. His coach, Bulk, also uses sticks to surprise him, forcing him to react defensively and sharpen his reflexes.
405. There you go.